Yeah, obviously we are really focused on ourselves, but when you've got someone like James Slipper playing his last game for our country, he's done so much for so long, it'd be crazy for us not to really lean into that, and we really want him to have a lasting memory of the Wallabies, something to be really proud of, and it's on all of us to make sure we go out there and do that. And as I said, we've had a really good week's prep, we've trained well, we've put ourselves in a position now to go out there, put a performance in for him to be proud of.
How do you like playing in Perth, and what do you think of the stadium now?
Yeah, we love coming over here. It's been a great week over here. The weather's been really kind so far, which we've enjoyed after a week in Auckland, where it was a bit cold and wet. So it's been really good, and this stadium is unbelievable. To get a sellout here too is really special. 60-odd thousand people here supporting the Wallabies in our final home game. It really is special, and we always love our opportunity to come over here and play.
When you think back to when Joe took over the job about last year, how much do you think the gap between you and the All Blacks has narrowed since Joe's come on board?
Yeah, I've got no doubt we've been improving as a team, and we've been improving week in, week out for over the last 18 months. And I guess you look at the results from last year to this year, it's probably, I wouldn't say the gap's closing. I think we're improving and they're improving, and it's on us tomorrow night to go out there and put a performance in. We're really confident in ourselves, and that's been from our training work and what we've been putting on the park over the last couple of months, and it's a great opportunity we have this weekend.
What are your expectations of Tane Edmed tomorrow?
Yeah, I thought his last game against Argentina was a really good game. He obviously had the hiccup moment, which is something which everyone sort of looks at, but the way he directed us around the field in a few big moments, getting 50-22, sound off the boot, he's got a really good kicking game. Just to go out there and do that, because he's a real confident sort of player, and he's got a really loud voice, and which is something I love about him, and he's not afraid to, I guess, direct us around the field, and just go out there and be composed and do that, and we've all got his back out there, that's for sure.
What is being done to address that discipline, Harry? Like, it was excellent at the start of the year and maybe faded away. Is it reffing? I don't know if Skippy, you can lay the market down a bit.
Yeah, we've just got back to our training, our work ethic, our fundamentals, trying to do everything right training, and obviously there is the ref's discretion there, but we've got to clean it up. We're giving them too many opportunities to penalise us, and that's something we definitely want to fix. And even just winning the collisions more at the start of the game, I think will definitely help us. When you're on the outside of winning the collisions, it normally can help the 50-50 penalties.
That was a happy hunting ground last couple back in 2019. Have you spoken to any of the guys in the squad who were out there that day about that?
No, we haven't really thought about that. Obviously, I was watching as a supporter then, and I remember it like it was yesterday. Big Whitey scoring the corner, which was one of the great Wallaby wins there. And we're really focused on ourselves, focused on the now, and we can't wait to get out here.
Happy. Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry. Good on you, mate. Good luck. Yeah, cheers. All right, guys.
Issues of the day.
Can I just talk about the fact that this is another sellout? So this is yet another major event that Perth is going to be hosting, another sellout event. It's focusing international attention and Australia-wide attention on what happens in Perth. We're thrilled that this is a sellout. Last weekend, the UFC Fight Night was the biggest gate of any UFC Fight Night in Australia ever. And of course, last year we had the UFC bout, which was a sellout. We're seeing the West Test figures come through for the first Ashes Test here at the stadium. We look like we're on course to beat that record of 103,000 back about 20 years ago over the course of the 5 days. Already we've sold day 1, day 2. We look like close to selling day 3. We've got about 25,000 people coming from overseas to come here to watch the first test in Perth. So our government is actually getting great results in tourism, in major events that work and that are successful. So it's very disappointing that the opposition leader is so negative. He is incredibly negative. He is always attacking our big events. At the weekend or before the weekend, he said that the UFC Fight Night, he was attacking it as something that was going to be a failure. He was mocking it. And of course, on the night itself, or on the day itself, we had 12,500 fans packing into RAC Arena. It was the biggest gate of any UFC Fight Night event in Australia ever. And once again, he got it wrong. So, I just say to the leader of the opposition, who is Western Australia's Dr. No. He is Western Australia's Dr. No. The only thing he's missing is a hairless cat. He is the leader of the Coalition. And I say to him, come on, get on board, support Western Australia. These events are working. Don't be Mr. Negative. Don't be unceasingly negative on every occasion. Back Western Australia. We're getting results. We're doing good things for the economy. And the latest tourism figures for Western Australia show that. In the year ending June 2025, we had a 15% increase in international visitors and something over 40% increase in international spending. Those are huge numbers. So it shows that we're doing things right, and there's a lot more coming with the West Test and Sail GP and lots more besides that is going to keep the focus on Western Australia and keep visitation to Western Australia. So, any questions?
Just to get your reaction to the Manchester City attack
Yeah.
overnight, and are there any fears that anti-Semitic attacks might get worse in Western Australia?
Look, you know, our heart goes out to the community there in Manchester, a close-knit community. I understand that it's a community of multi-faith, and that those groups and organisations got on very well with each other. It's particularly hitting hard here in the West. Rabbi Lieberman, who's the leader of the local Jewish community, that was his former congregation. So I understand he is feeling the impact of this very much so, and some of the victims he knew. And I think it's a congregation he obviously spent a lot of his life as part of. I've called Rabbi Lieberman, the local Jewish community leader in Perth this morning, to express my condolences to him and to support him in any way. I've also spoken to the Police Commissioner this morning. During the recent Yom Kippur holy days, there was increased patrols of all Jewish community venues across Perth and Western Australia. But in the light of this event overnight, which is a callous and criminal act of terrorism, WA Police have actually increased patrols of all Jewish community venues, and that will continue. There's always a response to these international events to look at the security of local venues. We don't have any evidence whatsoever to suggest there's any issue in Western Australia. Historically, we have a much better situation in Western Australia than overseas and even in other parts of Australia. But we work very closely with the local Jewish community. We're at one with them in terms of security needs. There's a lot of support, a lot of interaction. I think there's even a meeting of their security organisation and WA Police today, which was scheduled earlier. But there will be, and there has been over Yom Kippur, and there will be, in the aftermath of this tragedy, increased patrols at all Jewish venues right across Western Australia.
Minister, while we're on police matters, what was your reaction to an incident in Canningvale last night? Two groups of young men apparently fighting, and a 16-year-old is in hospital in critical condition.
Yeah, look, I hope that young fellow recovers. And it is a very serious situation. There is no need for anyone to be carrying a knife in Western Australia. There is no need for a youngster, a teenager, to go anywhere with a knife. It's one of the reasons we have introduced the toughest wanding laws in the country. Our police are very well trained. They have the equipment to wand electronically people for edged weapons. We've got tough edged weapons laws. The police are actively investigating that incident, but I'll just say it again. I hope the young man recovers, and I hope he's okay. And my thoughts are with him and his family. But again, there is never a reason to go armed in public like that, to carry a secreted weapon on you, and that's why we are leading the nation in terms of wanding people and keeping West Australians safe.
Just on
Oh, look, I think I've explained, the wanding laws, edged weapons laws are in place. Police are very well resourced. And they'll be investigating this thoroughly, but we'll always do everything we can to keep West Australians safe.
Just on Bledsloe Park, the project, given we're nearby, when did the government first come up with the idea for the project?
Look, this was a matter raised that many years ago, in fact, with the Bledsloe Park Board, who wanted more facilities on this peninsula. This is a peninsula which is designed for live entertainment and sport. And one of the proposals that came out of the Bledsloe Park Board, which was chaired by a former Liberal MP, I'll add, was for a Burswood entertainment venue, an outdoor entertainment facility. So look, that was part of the thinking, and that is actually the major part of the proposal. We want, this is an area of Perth which is central, easy to access. You've got a major arterial highway, you have a train station here, you've got a casino, you've got a world-class stadium, you've got a racetrack. It makes sense. It's a good place, the right place for entertainment and live sport.
Because in December of 2023, you signed an agreement for the government to take back part of the northern part of the land where the project now is. One, did you pay for taking back that land from Crown? And two, how much did it cost?
Look, I don't know the details of that. It's not a portfolio responsibility of mine, and certainly wasn't at the time.
You signed the agreement, though.
Well, look, I'd have to get back to you on the detail of that. But what I do know is that there's a collective approach to development of the peninsula. I know that the casino, and I know the Perth Stadium, and I know other facilities here like the racecourse want this place to be activated. It has great potential in terms of further activation, and I think the potential for an outdoor entertainment venue, which we can, have live acts of up 15,000 or so people enjoying bands and symphonies and, all sorts of entertainment, is going to bring more people to Western Australia, attract good acts, and also have people engage with this part of the world.
Will the government have to pay for that section of land, though?
Look, I'm not part of the current negotiations, so I'll have to get back to you on that.
Minister, on tourism, how important is the Kalgoorlie Cup tomorrow for tourism in the goldfields? And what do you think of the $1 million Golden Saddle race, the inaugural one happening tomorrow, Australia's largest regional slot race?
Yeah, well, the Kalgoorlie Round and the Kalgoorlie Cup are an icon of West Australia, not just racing but sport. It's something which gets the community together. The Premier will be attending the Cup in Kalgoorlie, so this the Golden Saddle and the stake money is putting a stamp on that event as being nationally significant, and it's an investment in the goldfields, it's an investment in the sport of racing, and I think it's
government to take back. Would that come out of the $217 million for the project, or are we adding on more costs now?
Look, these areas are outside my current responsibilities. I'm not up to date with the issues,
but
because
you
it is.
The agreement, you should know whether you had to pay
these are outside my current portfolio responsibilities, and I will get back to you on those issues.
The Department of Education have essentially released a document telling teachers not to insert their personal beliefs in their teaching. Given, we've just discussed instances of anti-Semitism and, obviously there's global conflicts going on, do you think that digging your head in the sand might not be the best approach to teaching kids?
I actually think that our teachers are very professional, and they understand what's in the curriculum and what's important to teach, and what areas of personal politics to stay away from. And that was a reminder of essentially something that all of our teachers, the vast majority, would already follow. Kids are there to get an education. They're not there to be schooled in politics. It doesn't matter if you're on the left or the right of an issue, if you're on either side of an argument. Our kids should be able to go to school and get an education which is not biased in any way in terms of philosophy or politics, teaching the essential elements of what's going on, I think is reasonable. But it's done professionally, and I think the vast majority of school teachers understand their responsibilities there.
Just a couple on a roads incident and the tragic incident in Butler.
Yeah.
Man got confused and died. What was your reaction to that? And is the signage at that particular interchange an issue?
Yeah, look, that was a shocking tragedy, and my heart goes out for the driver of that car. Obviously this is a man who was a motor enthusiast. He loved his car. To be caught in that situation, we do know that he was on the wrong side of the road, or in terms of an area where he met oncoming traffic. So a very sad and serious situation. How he happened to be there, why it happened, is a subject of a police investigation. So I think on main roads are obviously aware of the issue and will be doing their own investigation. But it's important that police get on with their investigation to work out what happened there.
Minister, on the recent meeting of police ministers around the illicit tobacco trade, was there an agreement that more needed to be done on the issue?
Yeah, look, we had a meeting of police ministers and commissioners in Canberra yesterday, and this is one of the top issues of discussion. We know that there's a collective approach amongst the states. We put the view strongly that the federal government, which is already engaged in this issue with Border Force, how they can be, making sure that this is an issue that's being addressed. I'm looking currently at other states in terms of what they're doing in terms of laws. This is an issue which gets under my skin because for a generation there, kids did not take up smoking. Unfortunately, the risk is with vapes and very cheap cigarettes, the risk is that young kids can take up a habit that I thought was dying out. So what I'll say is that new initiatives in terms of shutting down operators, shutting down these shops, in terms of rather than a fine, which they can bounce back from pretty quickly, I'm looking at laws which will They were supposed to play that when I walked up. Okay. Look, I'm looking at laws which will enable authorities to actually close down these shops, shut them down, take away their premises, their ability to trade in that venue for a period of time. And I'll look at all other, issues that we can introduce.
Would that be in this term of government?
Yeah, we are as a priority looking at legislation. Though this comes under the Health Act, so we're looking at how we can mend it, looking at what's happening in Queensland, South Australia, New South Wales. All states are moving in this direction, and I want to be in a position to look at all the legislation and pick out the very best and the toughest for Western Australia.
Do you know, does Crown support the proposed racetrack overlapping in their land area? Because back in does Crown support the proposed racetrack overlapping onto their land? Because back in 2020 they said they were looking at potentially expanding the towers.
Oh, look, those discussions I'm sure the Tourism Minister is engaged in. As I said, I've not been party to those discussions.
Tourism Minister?
Sorry, did I say tourism? I meant to say Sport Minister. Sorry. Yeah. Those are issues I'm sure Rita Saffioti, the Sport Minister, is engaged in, and I've not been party to them. So, but look, there is some keenness to see, the further development of what is already a very active and successful entertainment and live sport precinct.
There's reports today, states and territories premiers and treasurers sort of putting their heads together to come up with a figure of what they from the federal government to help fund public hospitals. Do you think that's a strong sign that the feds should listen to the states on what's needed?
Oh, look, I think the Premier and the Health Minister have been on record. Some of the issues which affect our hospitals in Western Australia involved aged care facilities, places. I know that, having relatives myself that are in a situation where they should be in aged care, but they get caught in hospital, having more aged care places, which is a federal responsibility, means you can release, many beds in the system. So yes, the federal government has a responsibility in this area.
Last couple of questions, just back on tobacco quickly. Is there evidence out of places like South Australia and Queensland already have that closure order laws that it's effective?
Look, I think it's early days. These laws are just being introduced, but we'll look at the legislation, we'll look at any real-world experience. But I think it's the next most important step we can take is to actually, rather than fine an illegal dealer in illicit tobacco, or vapes for that matter, rather than fine them, make sure that they can't operate in that premise. Shut them down for whether it could be 6 months or 12 months. And we'll look at other things too that make it very hard for them to operate.
And the number of shark sightings, I believe it's around 3 a day recently. We're worried at all about what that might do to the tourism industry, and what's your message?
Look, I think the message is always, we have to be aware that when we go into the ocean, it's their environment. You have to take your personal safety into consideration, but I think the chances of anything happening to you are very, very low indeed. And we've got a very effective aerial surveillance regime that has cranked back up. They're very good at spotting sharks and raising alarms. We've got new technology in terms of detecting sharks and the warnings going out. And I just think we accept that they're out there, but if you act in a responsible way, and I don't go out too far in the ocean, but I think the vast majority of people that are down for a dip at the ocean, if you listen for the shark alarm, listen to the advice of surf lifesavers, know that those aerial patrols are in place, and that the alerts with sharks that have been tagged raising the alarm as well. I think you'll ensure your safety that way.
Just one more on that, Butler, quickly. Are you concerned at all? Does that spark a bit of more concern about confusion across the network? Is that something that needs to be addressed?
Look, I'm not aware of any issue like that. But look, at this again, we'll need to work out what actually happened. It's such a tragic event, and why that gentleman was on that ramp when he was, and why he turned into that ramp, we'll have to work out. As I said, Main Roads is very much conducting their own investigation, but I'm sure they'll always want to have best practice and the safest roads possible. So that if there's any lessons that to be learnt, they'll follow those up.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Ta.